the New Year's bubbles, kind of
That's
little
exactly what I was
excitement.
thinking. Like it's like this fun, like adventurous thing. So Jennifer Denny.
Lorraine Ball, and welcome to the Small Biz Chat. If you're listening, go ahead and say hello. We'd love to know what you think as we ramble on, because today's topic is really sort of near and dear to both Jennifer and I, and that is planning. What's in what's in your 2022 plan?
Yeah, we're both planners for sure. Like, although I think you roll with it more than I do.
I think my approach to planning is that I have a framework, and I
Mhm.
know I know the general direction, um, and I tend to fill it out as I go along.
Yeah.
I definitely do that, but I also really look at all aspects of my business. One of my favorite things to do is right at the end of the year to go back and look at last year's plan
Hmm.
and figure out what worked, what didn't work, and do I even care about some of those things anymore?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're trying to plan out an entire year, like I like what you said, like the framework and not getting too much into the details. Maybe like the first quarter for sure, the first month you're getting a little bit more detailed, but you can get over planned for sure.
Absolutely. And I love starting with this snapshot, kind of taking a look at where am I in this moment, a lot of the metrics that we talked about, but then also where's the market? What's going on out there that I need to be aware of?
Yeah, getting your head outside of your own numbers. Sometimes I think I don't go back and look at my own numbers, or I go back and look, I'm like, oh wow, I did accomplish a lot. But I didn't think I did.
Well, and I think that's really one of the nice things at the end of the year is before you plan for the next year is really that celebration. Really looking at what did you set out to accomplish and did you or didn't you? And before you focus on the didn'ts, focus on the dids. Focus on what worked and look at how far you've come and celebrate with yourself, celebrate with your team, and then take a look at the things that didn't happen. And I think they fall into a couple of categories. And one is maybe it's not such a good idea.
Yep, yep. I think sometimes we do. I'm at least, I would say people that are high runners, they look at all the negative things that they
Mhm.
did and they don't look at the positive things that they accomplished, or they try to compare themselves to other people. And we're all in our own little race here where, you just need to measure yourself against yourself. Sure, there's benchmarks out there, but as long as you're improving every day, that's what really matters.
Absolutely. And I think this is a good time to take a look at what's going on in the outside world. There were things, we're 2 years into the pandemic,
Right.
and there are things that are never going to be the
The
way
same.
they were. And so it's time to stop saying, well, after the pandemic. No, this
No.
is this is as after the pandemic as it's going to get.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this is a great time to make those adjustments in your business, to figure out where you need to be, what you need to do differently, and then start creating some plans.
Yep, yep. I less is more. We've said that. Plan it out though, what you kind of expect. I think just the physical writing down gets you to start thinking about it. So not just saying it out loud, but here's where I kind of want to be. And it can be in different formats too. It can be
Mhm.
written, it can be numbers, just planning.
Yes, but I think on that less is more topic, we all do this. New Year's Day, we've got like five resolutions, and by January 4th, three of them we've broken. And so instead of trying to do everything at once, as you're taking a look at, okay, this is where I want to be, and I can go this way or I can go this way, but I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go up both paths at the same time. So pick one thing that's going to be your first quarter. That's really what I want to accomplish. Anything else that gets done is a bonus. And really focus on that. And then the second quarter, focus on something else.
Yeah, when you have those 4, you end up failing or doing them
Mhm.
like half speed of what you could actually do. So, let's just pick one and then maybe the next quarter reevaluate those 4
Mhm.
that evaluate. Did you hear my southern drawl come out?
I did. I didn't know you were a Southern girl.
It comes out every now and then.
Yes. But I think the idea of when you're doing your plan, and even though I do a lot by the seat of it feels like I do a lot by the seat of my pants. But I actually have this framework underneath it. And I actually have a very traditional business plan, one that a lot of people say, oh, you don't need that much detail anymore. But I think you do. And I think you have to take a look at once a year the risks in your business. What could go wrong? And really take a look at that and go, okay, if I lose 5 clients,
Mhm.
what happens to my business and what's my contingency plan? If a new competitor comes into the market and has truly a more innovative or a lower price solution, how am I going to compete? If you're in an industry that frequently has regulations, what are those things? And I think too often business owners are like, oh, that's not going to happen. I don't need to think about that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you a really good example is that uh, when I was running Round Peg, election years were terrible. For
Oh, yeah.
whatever reason, everybody around May or June does this, well, I'm going to wait till after the election.
Well,
Even
it's all
though even though they weren't going to do anything different, there was that mental thing. And I've talked to other owners. And so 2019 was my best year. And instead of planning for a huge year, I had this contingency plan just in case 2020 crashed and burned. Now, I did not, I did not have, I didn't have the plan that really anticipated, a global pandemic.
Yeah, as much as it did. But had you not had that a little bit of plan, it probably eased the stress and be like,
Mhm,
okay, all right, plan B, we can roll with this. So
mhm.
it's that planning that made you more comfortable with something went this direction, and that's okay. If you just keep thinking it's not going to happen to me, like you don't know.
Absolutely. So, what else do you do year end when you're planning? What else is kind of on your to do list?
A lot of it, I would say, is financial.
Hmm.
So the things that you were mentioning, this is just something I'm trying to get better in my business is understanding my numbers and, all of those items. I'm thinking about who I want to be in business for the next
Hmm.
year. So I come up, I heard this from Michael Reynolds one time, but like the word of the year. Um, and so I have my word of the year. It's delegate.
Oh, I love that word. I love that word.
My word is to delegate and not try to take on all of the things myself. And so I'm trying to think about that. Like, who do I want to be next year? And how is that going to relate to my business growth? And, things are going to change and I'm going to be different. And I like that. I like the constant change and different. How about
Um,
you?
well, I hadn't thought about it in terms of one word, but I think if I had to really pick a word, it might be decision this year
Mm-hmm.
because 2021 was definitely a year of transition.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I have the pieces of where I think my business is going to be. And this is the year that I'm like, okay, am I going to make this work? Or am I going to let some of this go? And without a lot of the other, we're kind of on a D phrase, aren't we? But without a lot of the distractions that
Yeah.
that I had last year, it really gives me an opportunity to say, okay, the toolbox is the business, and what do I want it to be, and to kind of start letting go of some of the platforms that maybe don't really support where that business needs to be. So I think by year end I'm going to have some decisions made.
There you go.
Awesome.
Awesome. I think we kind of wrap this one up. What do you think?
I think so. So You know what? Let us know if you've got a word of the year, something that you really want to focus on. Go ahead and put it in the chat. For the next 2 weeks, we have two of our favorite episodes we're going to actually rerun. So if you didn't see the conversation on content-based SEO or Brandzuka, come back the next 2 weeks and then we'll see you live after the first of the year.
Yay, we get a little break here. Everybody should be taking a break, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's that time of year. It's time to take a little break, come back to the spot, and think about your planning for next year. Gotta have that screen space.
Well, to everybody, happy holidays. We'll see you in 22.
Take care.
Bye now.